passenger safety. And I'm proud to stand with the RMT to defend our ticket office staff. Just this morning, I've been working through the Rail North Committee to convene an emergency meeting so that we can use our statutory powers to oppose this and challenge the government. Industrial disputes are so much more for the play. I was talking to a group of teachers yesterday about the child poverty prevention programme I've introduced in schools. It's helped thousands of families, and it's hailed as a model of best practice. And I asked those teachers about their jobs and what they wanted. Time, they said. Time to prepare for lessons and do our jobs properly. And professional respect. We don't want to be exam factories. My wife's a GP. And GPs are sick of the ludicrous market mechanisms getting in the way of good practice, where it's almost impossible to recruit a doctor because you have this market mechanism encouraging people to become locums, so you get no continuity in patient care. We need to implement a sustained funding settlement that recognises the scale of the health challenges and does not rely on PFI 2.0. There's a simple way to fund our NHS. 3 words. Tax the rich. An annual wealth tax of, say, 1% of all assets, only those of over 2 million, would raise enough money to end poverty, provide free tuition, and end all NHS waiting lists. We need to reframe the discussion around health. Prevention is always better than cure. We need a national health service, not a national hospital service. And when we talk about public health, we must talk about all that feeds into it, from employment, housing, transport, access to community activities and green spaces. For example, every pound that's spent on retrofitting homes saves the NHS 42p by reducing cold and damp housing. We need a funding and evaluation model that measures health outcomes across all government spending departments. And as Mayor, I've already started this process by instigating the wellbeing framework in my combined authority, which sits behind all our funding investment decisions. After all, if the work we do as politicians is not improving health and the wellbeing of the people we serve, we shouldn't be doing it. What's the biggest driver of good health? Once you've given up smoking, it's not your diet, it's not your exercise, it's inequality. And the 5,000 jobs that I've created in the north of Tyne and backed by our Good Work pledge that guarantees the real living wage, it guarantees diversity, it guarantees being listened to, including trade union representation, and it guarantees that you are taken seriously, you get the opportunity to retrain and turn a job into a career. I was talking to Sir Michael Marmon about this, the legendary health researcher, who came up with the concept of the status syndrome, that he says it's about this feeling of being powerless that does so much damage to people's health, their mental ill health, their physical ill health. And that's why we run employability programs that help people rebuild their confidence and take them through one-to-one coaching into an area where they can earn good money and keep them away from the vicious sanctions regime. Obesity costs the North East 1.35 billion a year, and we can improve healthy lifestyles by improving our transport system. That's why I spent the last 4 years negotiating a devolution deal for the North East. To get that 4.3 billion quid, I had to negotiate with Tories and Lib Dems and Labour people and independents. But that's what you do if you want to build a better world. If I'm re-elected as Mayor, we'll see public transport, backing public controls, guards on the trains, and late-night hospitality workers aiming at transportation. And this will be a total transport network that will integrate buses, that will integrate the metro, integrate the heavy road system, establish a car tour so people don't have to own a car if they want to go away for the weekend or pick up something massive from IKEA. And it will integrate with active travel, so you'll have safe and secure bike parking at all public transport interfaces. It will increase the ridership by a factor of 2 to get more money into it, and it will be entirely under public control. Ultimately, it's about making sure we all have freedom of movement, not just the rich, and I will make travel free for everybody under 18. And I'm a trade unionist for the same reason I became mayor. I believe Britain should be run in the interest of the people who do the work, and that compassion extends to carers and those unable to work, and those who've retired after a lifetime of work. The irony is that the day that London Labour HQ blocked me and took away the freedom from Labour members to choose their own candidate is that very morning I was on a picket line with the PCS civil servants in Longbenton tax office backing workers in struggle. How often do you see a politician in power, not in opposition, I'm in power, backing workers in struggle? There is no final victory, just as there is no final defeat. But I sense a change in politics. There's a shift in the ground beneath us. People have had enough of broken promises, enough of politicians appeasing billionaires, enough of culture wars pitting worker against worker, and they are looking for hope. As the great Nye Bevan put it, the NHS will last as long as there are folk left with the faith to fight for it. Well, I'm keeping the faith, and I'm up for the fight. Shy Baines, get out.